Okie dokie, yeah, I just got a few questions about the ad that's been placed, I think it was in today's papers. The Pilliga, let's separate fact from fiction. And of course, your inviting comment down there at the bottom in small print. We're happy to have all the facts put out in the open about our work in the Pilliga. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, well, there's no way I can come up to Narrabri. I live at Gosford, which is quite some distance, but I've got some questions about the ad. Do you mind if I record this conversation? No, I don't need to refer to anyone else. I'm just responding to the ad, so it's quite acceptable for me to record the conversation. You're aware that I am recording the conversation now under the Federal Communications Act.
All right, yes.
Okay. Now, this may be used for quality or coaching purposes. Now...
So, Peter, are you representing anyone?
No, not at all. I'm a private citizen.
Yes, private citizen? Yep.
Okay. Now, there are 4 facts mentioned on the left-hand side of the ad, and let's not worry about them. Let's worry about the fiction, the 3 on the right-hand side of the ad. Claims that there is an unsafe level of uranium in the sample water is simply not true. Now, there is over 20 times the recommended level by the EPA of uranium in the contaminated water. So, how is your fiction statement not actually fiction?
My understanding of it is that the uranium source is from the surrounding soil types, not from the water.
Is that relevant?
Well, I'm assuming in your question it is.
Well, no, the question is there is uranium in the water at 20 times the recommended level, or the safe level, by the EPA, and...
The line is which water you're talking about. So, what is in the brine pond...
The contaminated water.
Hasn't got the uranium in it. Where the uranium has come from is the surrounding soil types, and when the acidic soil type and the acidic water has mixed, it's leached the uranium into the, I believe the term was perched aquifer, the lens of sand where it's collected.
Okay, so if there was no fracking going on, this wouldn't have happened, is that correct?
No, look, I can't answer that. I don't think that's... So, just ask the question again. You said if there was no fracking going on, this wouldn't have happened.
Yep, that's precisely right.
No, they're not related.
They're not... So the contamination is not related to the fracking operations?
The contamination at this stage is due to a breach in the pond structure.
Okay, so if there was no fracking going on, there would be no pond there.
Yeah, so essentially the storage of water is a byproduct of the process, and if the storage is safely kept, there's no correlation to fracking and or no fracking, because from time to time the extraction of natural gas or coal seam gas requires either fracking or not fracking. So fracking is a product of the geology of the coal as opposed to the process of extracting natural gas.
Okay, let me put it more generally then. If Santos was not operating in the Pilliga, this would not have occurred. Is that a correct statement?
Well, this, I think, as the press releases all say, was a part of the Eastern Star Gas operations and the process of us cleaning it up.
Okay, let's move on. Now, the EPA refers to the area as an aquifer, and I tend to believe them over anything that a resource company would say, but you have, in the second paragraph, it refers to the fact that it is not an aquifer. What have you got anything further on that?
I think what the Santos Act defines it as an aquifer that's been used by agriculture or human consumption.
Yep, that does say that. Yep. The last sentence is the water in question is isolated and is not used for human or agricultural consumption or connected to the aquifers that are.
Yep.
Okay. That's still an aquifer though, isn't it?
Look, mate, I'm only referring to the ad. You've got to, I think the definition's there. have defined it. They've had an extensive discussion on it.
Okay, so contaminating it with 20 times the amount of safe level of uranium, that would poison it, wouldn't it?
That's not something I understand.
Okay.
That's an assertion you're giving me at the moment.
Oh, no, it's a question. Anyway. And then the final paragraph is, despite assertions made by various activists, the New South Wales EPA is clear that the situation poses no risk to human health or livestock. What do the people of Chernobyl think about that?
Of who?
Chernobyl, where
the Russian,
the White Russian, yeah.
So your question is an assertion that there's a correlation between the levels of nuclear or radiation from Chernobyl and the levels of radiation that could be picked up by these minute particles. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, basically, or you want to have a look at Japan, but basically, to say that it poses no threat to humans seems a bit dubious, because there is actual
other sources in your daily life. So, are you looking at other water samples, other sources of uranium?
No, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the problem that happened up at Bibawindi. Now, the thing is, if there is radiation getting around there, it means that you won't be able to go into the area, because it will contaminate you over a longer period. And the longer you're there, the more the effect will be. And so, therefore, if someone is lobbing around through near where the holding pond was, and stayed there and decided to camp for a few days, I would say that would be a risk to human health.
Yeah, that's your assertion. It's certainly not the company's assertion.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, thanks, Lawrence. Warwick, sorry, I should say. Thanks, Warwick. Thanks for that. Thank you very much.
Okay.